This is a video for those of you who are thinking about going to university and are starting your application forms on the UCAS website. I wanted to give you a bit of a heads up to some of the classic errors that I see a lot of and things that people struggle with, because the form can be a little bit confusing sometimes. And there are two videos I've done, one on the registration and one on filling in the application form, which I really recommend you watch. But just as a sort of a heads up before you start doing that, I just wanted to give you some pointers. So the first one is, when you're doing your registration and your application, make sure that you have checked whether your school or college wants you to apply as an individual or as part of that school or college. Because if you're applying through the school, then they should be giving you a buzzword, and you need to say that you're applying through a school or college, and you put that buzzword in, and that means your application is attached to the school or college that you're currently studying at. And that means you get the support of them being able to see your application and add the reference in and all of that. And if they're supporting you with paying for it, for example, that will all go through there. You might find that your school or college is actually asking you to apply as an individual, in which case that's fine. You just make sure you do the drop down individual instead, and you don't add in a buzzword. Second thing is, when it comes to putting in whether or not you want student finance, most of you would, I'm sure, be saying that you would like some of the student loan, and there are a bunch of different fee codes which you can choose from. And for most of you, it'll be fee code 2. If you're coming from a different country, or there's a couple of other things that you'll see in the drop-down menu that you might fit under, then it might be something else, but for most of you, it'll be 2. The other thing that sometimes confuses people is the qualifications list. There are a lot of them, and if you're doing anything other than A-levels, which is usually quite straightforward, you might get a little bit confused, especially around BTECs, because there's a lot of different BTECs, but actually some of them are at different levels. So there might be level 2 when you actually want a level 3. So I won't be able to go through all of them now, and we'd be here all day, but can I recommend you really careful checking that what it says on your certificate, what it says on, if you check with your teacher what exactly your qualification is that you're studying, is what it says on the UCAS website. And if you're not sure, then give them a call or ask your teacher or careers advisor to, because you don't want to put the wrong qualification in. One other thing that sometimes can get a bit confusing for some people is the actual final deadline from UCAS's point of view is January the 15th, and that's the same every year. But what most schools and colleges will do is they will give you an internal deadline. And this is because they need to process the applications and they need to add a reference, because they cannot send your application till a reference has been added. So you might find that your college deadline is way earlier. It might even be in October or November, which you might think that's really unfair. But remember, if there are 1,000 students at your college and half of those are applying to university, they don't want to leave it till the day before to make sure they're all correct and ready to go, because then you'll end up missing the deadline. So work with your own school or college's internal deadline. Don't think, oh, it's fine, I'll just leave it till January 14th or January 15th, a minute before. And yeah, this is sort of connected to that. If you are applying through a school or college, when you submit your UCAS application, it doesn't actually go straight to UCAS. It goes to whoever your nominated person in school is. And that's so that they can check it and make sure it's all okay and add the reference. So when you press submit, don't think, oh, it's gone now, I've done it. You might want to just check in that it's not just sitting somewhere on a system. If you're applying as an individual, you do all that yourself. So if you're either not studying at a school at the moment, or you're homeschooled or something, or they're making you apply as an individual, which they might do, then when you send it, it does go. So it's just a slightly different system. Those are the main areas. There's quite a lot more where people can trip up, but those are some of the main areas that I've come across. If there's anything that you're confused about or unsure about, let us know. Drop us a DM on Instagram or wherever you're watching this. Take care and good luck with it. And we are here to help, remember. Bye.